If you're over 60 and struggling with digestive issues, bloating, or irregular bowel movements, what I'm about to share could change everything. There's a reason why certain populations maintain incredible gut health well into their 80s and 90s, and it has nothing to do with expensive supplements or complicated diets. In fact, the habits I'll reveal today are so simple that most people overlook them completely, yet they're backed by decades of clinical observation and could be the missing piece in your digestive health puzzle. My name is Dr. Helen Brooks, and I'm a gastroenterologist with over 20 years of experience helping patients over 60 reclaim their digestive health. Throughout my career, I've studied traditional wellness practices from around the world, and I've seen firsthand how simple, consistent habits can transform gut health in ways that medication alone never could. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I strongly recommend hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you never miss another health tip made especially for you. If you find this video helpful, please leave your questions and suggestions in the comments below. I read every single one, and it helps me create more content to help people just like you. Now, let me tell you about Mrs. Margaret, a 72-year-old retired school teacher who came to my office 3 years ago. She'd been suffering from chronic constipation, painful bloating, and what she described as a constant feeling of heaviness in her stomach. She'd tried every over-the-counter remedy, consulted multiple doctors, and had almost given up hope. Margaret told me with tears in her eyes that she'd stopped going to her weekly book club because she was terrified of sudden digestive discomfort in public. Her quality of life had deteriorated so much that she rarely left her home anymore. After thoroughly reviewing her case, I didn't prescribe any new medications. Instead, I introduced her to 6 simple daily habits that have been practiced for generations in cultures known for exceptional longevity and gut health. Within 3 months, Margaret called me, her voice filled with emotion, saying she felt like she'd gotten her life back. She was back at her book club, traveling to visit her grandchildren, and most importantly, she felt comfortable and confident in her own body again. Let me share these 6 habits with you, starting with the first one that might surprise you. The first habit is eating fermented foods daily, but not just any fermented foods. I'm talking about naturally fermented vegetables, miso, and other traditionally prepared foods that contain billions of beneficial bacteria. As we age, the diversity of our gut microbiome naturally decreases. Think of your gut as a garden. When you're young, it's lush and diverse with hundreds of plant species. As you get older without proper care, that garden becomes sparse and dominated by only a few hardy plants. Fermented foods are like seeds that replant that garden with beneficial species. Let me tell you about Mr. Robert, a 68-year-old former engineer who struggled with recurring digestive infections and had been on antibiotics multiple times over 2 years. Each round of antibiotics would temporarily solve one problem, but create others, leaving him in a frustrating cycle. Robert was skeptical when I suggested incorporating fermented foods, telling me he'd never liked sauerkraut or kimchi. I explained that there were many options, and we found that he enjoyed miso soup and naturally fermented pickles. Robert started with just 1 tablespoon of fermented vegetables with his lunch and a small bowl of miso soup 3 times a week. He was amazed when, after 6 weeks, his digestive issues began to settle. After 4 months, he hadn't needed antibiotics once. When I saw him for his follow-up, he told me, "Doctor, I didn't believe food could be this powerful. I've spent thousands on medications, and all I needed was to eat like my grandmother did." The key here is consistency and variety. Your gut thrives on diversity. Just like you wouldn't eat only one vegetable for the rest of your life, you shouldn't rely on just one type of fermented food. Try to rotate between different options throughout the week, and please, start slowly. If you've never eaten fermented foods regularly, your gut needs time to adjust. Begin with 1 to 2 tablespoons per day and gradually increase over several weeks. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, comment 1 below to show me you're following along. Now, the second habit might seem almost too simple, but it's one of the most powerful tools for gut health that I've seen in my practice. It's about how you eat, not just what you eat. I'm talking about mindful, slow eating with thorough chewing. Here's what happens in your gut when you rush through meals. Your stomach has to work overtime to break down large pieces of food. This leads to incomplete digestion, which means partially digested food reaches your intestines, where it can ferment, causing gas, bloating, and discomfort. Additionally, when you eat quickly, you swallow air, which contributes to that uncomfortable, bloated feeling many of my patients complain about. Mrs. Patricia, A 75-year-old retired nurse came to me with severe acid reflux and constant bloating. She'd been prescribed multiple medications for reflux, but nothing seemed to provide lasting relief. As I took her history, I noticed she mentioned eating lunch in her car between errands and finishing dinner in less than 10 minutes so she could get to her evening activities. Patricia was always busy, always rushing, even in retirement. I asked her to try an experiment for 2 weeks. Instead of changing what she ate, I asked her to change how she ate. She needed to sit down for every meal, put her phone away, and chew each bite at least 20 to 25 times before swallowing. Patricia looked at me like I'd asked her to climb a mountain. "Doctor, that sounds impossible," she said, but she agreed to try. 2 weeks later, she called my office, and I could hear the surprise in her voice. Her bloating had decreased by what she estimated was 60%. The acid reflux episodes that had been waking her up at night had reduced significantly. But what struck me most was when she said, "Dr. Brooks, I'm actually enjoying food again. I'd forgotten what that felt like. I've been eating for 40 years without really tasting anything." The mechanism behind this is fascinating. When you chew thoroughly, you're not just breaking down food mechanically. Your saliva contains digestive enzymes that begin breaking down carbohydrates right in your mouth. This head start makes everything easier on your stomach and intestines. Plus, the act of chewing sends signals to your brain that food is coming, which triggers the release of digestive juices throughout your gastrointestinal tract, preparing it for optimal digestion. Here's what I recommend. For your next meal, count your chews. Aim for 25 chews per bite, especially for harder foods like meat or raw vegetables. Put your fork down between bites. Make each meal last at least 20 minutes. I know this might feel strange at first, especially if you've been a fast eater your whole life, but I promise you, your gut will thank you. The third habit is about timing, and it's one that many of my patients initially resist because it goes against common eating patterns in modern life. I'm talking about giving your digestive system a full 12 to 14-hour break overnight without food. Your digestive system needs rest, just like every other system in your body. When you eat late at night or snack continuously throughout the evening, your gut never gets a chance to complete its cleaning and repair processes. There's a natural cleaning wave that sweeps through your intestines during fasting periods, called the migrating motor complex. It's like a street sweeper that clears out debris, bacteria, and undigested particles. This process can only happen when you're not eating. Let me tell you about Mr. James, a 64-year-old accountant who came to me with what he called mystery stomach pain. He'd been experiencing cramping, irregular bowel movements, and what he described as a constant uncomfortable feeling in his abdomen. After extensive testing revealed no structural problems, I started asking about his eating patterns. James worked late hours, often eating dinner at 9 or 10 at night, then snacking while watching television until 11 or midnight. He'd wake up and have breakfast at 6 in the morning, giving his gut only about 6 to 7 hours of fasting time. I explained the concept of the overnight fast to him and suggested he try finishing his last bite of food by 7 in the evening and not eating again until 7 the next morning. He was concerned he'd wake up starving or wouldn't be able to sleep without his evening snack. I assured him that after a few days of adjustment, his body would adapt. James called me 3 weeks later, excited to report that his stomach pain had virtually disappeared. He told me, "The first few nights were hard. I won't lie. I felt hungry, and I missed my snack routine. But after about 5 days, something shifted. My sleep improved. I wake up actually feeling hungry for breakfast instead of forcing it down, and that constant, uncomfortable feeling in my stomach is gone." The science behind this is compelling. During the fasting period, your gut lining repairs itself, inflammation decreases, and beneficial bacteria have a chance to flourish without constant competition from incoming food. Additionally, this eating pattern supports healthy circadian rhythms in your digestive system. Yes, your gut has its own internal clock, and when you eat at consistent times and fast overnight, you're supporting that natural rhythm. Start gradually if this feels overwhelming. If you currently eat until midnight, try stopping at 11 for a week, then 10 the next week, and work your way to finishing your last meal by 7 or 8 in the evening. The goal is to have at least 12 hours between your last bite at night and your first bite in the morning. But if you thought that was important, wait until you hear about the fourth habit, and this one involves something you're already doing every single day. The fourth habit is proper hydration, but with a specific strategy that most people get wrong. I'm not just talking about drinking 8 glasses of water a day. I'm talking about when and how you drink water to support optimal digestion. Here's what many people don't realize. Drinking large amounts of water during meals can dilute your stomach acid and digestive enzymes, making digestion less efficient. Your stomach produces concentrated hydrochloric acid and enzymes specifically designed to break down food. When you drink a lot of liquid with your meal, you're essentially watering down these powerful digestive juices. For someone over 60, whose digestive enzymes are already naturally declining with age, this can be particularly problematic. Mrs. Elizabeth, a 70-year-old retired librarian, came to me complaining of feeling excessively full after meals, with food seeming to sit in her stomach for hours. She also struggled with chronic constipation despite eating plenty of fiber. As I reviewed her habits, I noticed she drank 3 large glasses of water with every meal because she'd read that water helps digestion. I explained that while hydration is crucial for digestion, the timing matters enormously. I asked her to try a different approach. Drink a glass of water 20 to 30 minutes before meals, sip only small amounts during meals if needed, and then wait at least an hour after eating to drink larger amounts of water. Additionally, I emphasized drinking plenty of water between meals to support overall digestive health and prevent constipation. Elizabeth was skeptical, but agreed to try. After 2 weeks, she reported feeling less bloated after meals. After a month, her constipation had significantly improved, and she told me, "Dr. Brooks, I had no idea that when I drank water could make such a difference. I feel lighter, and my energy is better throughout the day." The mechanism is straightforward. Water between meals helps move things through your intestines, keeps your stool soft and easy to pass, and supports all the cellular processes involved in digestion. But during meals, your stomach needs those concentrated acids and enzymes to do their job effectively. Think of it like making soup. If you add too much water while cooking, you dilute all the flavors, and it doesn't taste as rich and satisfying. Here's my recommendation. Start your day with a glass of water before breakfast. Drink regularly throughout the morning and afternoon. Have a glass of water 20 to 30 minutes before each meal. During your meal, limit yourself to a few small sips if your mouth feels dry. Wait at least an hour after eating before drinking larger amounts. This pattern ensures you're well hydrated while giving your digestive system the best chance to function properly. If you're finding these tips valuable, please give this video a like and share it with someone who might benefit from this information. The 5th habit addresses something that's become increasingly rare in modern life, and it's critical for gut health, especially as we age. I'm talking about daily movement, but not the way you might think. This isn't about intense exercise. This is about gentle, consistent movement specifically timed to support digestion. Your intestines don't move food through by themselves. They need help from your physical movement. When you sit still for long periods, especially after eating, your digestive system becomes sluggish. Food moves more slowly through your intestines, which can lead to constipation, bloating, and incomplete digestion. Conversely, gentle movement stimulates what's called peristalsis, the wave-like muscle contractions that move food through your digestive tract. Let me share the story of Mr. Thomas, a 73-year-old retired postal worker who'd been struggling with severe constipation for years. He'd tried every fiber supplement, stool softener, and dietary change his previous doctors recommended, with minimal improvement. When I met Thomas, he was dependent on laxatives just to have a bowel movement once every 4 to 5 days. He was miserable and felt like his body had betrayed him. As I reviewed his daily routine, I noticed that Thomas spent most of his day sitting. He'd wake up, eat breakfast at his kitchen table, then move to his recliner where he'd read, watch television, and nap throughout the day. He barely walked more than a few dozen steps most days. His lack of movement wasn't due to physical inability. He could walk just fine, but rather habit and lack of motivation. I prescribed something unusual. Instead of another medication or supplement, I asked him to take a 15-minute gentle walk after each main meal. Just 15 minutes at a comfortable pace, nothing strenuous. Thomas looked doubtful but agreed to try. His wife agreed to walk with him, which provided both motivation and companionship. The results were remarkable. Within 10 days, Thomas had his first unassisted bowel movement in months. After 3 weeks, he was having regular daily bowel movements without any laxatives. When I saw him 2 months later, he'd lost 12 pounds, his energy had improved dramatically, and he told me, "Doctor, those walks have become the best part of my day. My wife and I talk. We notice things in the neighborhood we'd never seen before, and I feel more like myself than I have in years." The science behind this is clear. Physical movement, especially walking, stimulates intestinal contractions, helps move gas through your system, and improves blood flow to your digestive organs. It doesn't need to be intense. In fact, gentle movement is often more beneficial for digestion than vigorous exercise, which can actually slow digestion temporarily. Here's what I recommend. After each meal, particularly after lunch and dinner, take a 10 to 15-minute gentle walk. If you can't walk outside, walk around your home. If walking is difficult, even standing and doing gentle movements or stretches can help. The key is consistency and timing. Moving within 20 to 30 minutes after eating provides the most digestive benefit. Now, the sixth and final habit might be the most important of all, and it's something that's often completely overlooked in conventional digestive health advice. The sixth habit is stress management, specifically daily practices that activate your parasympathetic nervous system, what I call your rest and digest mode. Your gut and your brain are intimately connected through what scientists call the gut-brain axis. When you're stressed, anxious, or worried, your body goes into fight or flight mode, which actually shuts down or slows down digestive processes. Your body doesn't want to waste energy digesting food when it thinks you're in danger. This made sense when we were running from predators, but in modern life, chronic stress means chronic digestive suppression. Mrs. Dorothy, an 81-year-old widow, came to me with a case that had puzzled several doctors. Her digestive symptoms seemed to have no physical cause. She'd had every test imaginable, all coming back normal, yet she suffered from daily nausea, loss of appetite, and alternating constipation and diarrhea. She'd lost weight and was becoming increasingly frail. Her children were worried, and so was I. As I talked with Dorothy, the real story emerged. Her husband had passed away 18 months earlier, and she was struggling with grief and loneliness. She lived alone, had stopped most of her social activities, and spent her days worrying about her health and her future. The stress and anxiety were literally shutting down her digestive system. Her gut wasn't broken, it was responding exactly as it was designed to, reacting to her emotional state. I knew medications wouldn't solve Dorothy's problem. Instead, I worked with her to establish a daily stress management routine. We started with simple deep breathing exercises, 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before bed. She joined a gentle yoga class at her community center, where she could be around people and move her body. Most importantly, I encouraged her to reconnect with friends and find activities that brought her joy. The transformation took time, but it happened. Within 2 months, Dorothy's appetite began returning. Her digestive symptoms gradually improved. After 6 months, she was back to her normal weight, and when I asked how she was feeling, she said something I'll never forget. "Dr. Brooks, you didn't cure my gut. You reminded me that I needed to take care of my whole self, not just my stomach. Once I started living again instead of just worrying, my body started working again." The research on this is extensive. Chronic stress alters gut bacteria composition, increases intestinal permeability, often called leaky gut, and triggers inflammation throughout the digestive system. Conversely, stress reduction practices improve gut function, support healthy bacteria, and enhance the gut's ability to repair and protect itself. Here's what I recommend. Find a daily practice that helps you relax and make it non-negotiable. This could be 5 minutes of deep breathing, gentle stretching, meditation, prayer, listening to calming music, or sitting quietly in nature. The specific activity matters less than the consistency and your mental state during the practice. You're specifically trying to activate your parasympathetic nervous system to signal to your body that it's safe to rest and digest. Additionally, pay attention to your emotional eating patterns. Many people over 60 grew up being taught to clean their plates or that food equals love. If you're eating when you're not hungry or eating to cope with emotions rather than physical hunger, your digestive system suffers. Learning to recognize true hunger versus emotional hunger can transform your gut health. So let me bring this all together for you, because I know I've given you a lot of information. These 6 habits, eating fermented foods daily, practicing mindful and slow eating, giving your gut a 12 to 14-hour overnight fast, strategic hydration, gentle movement after meals, and daily stress management, work together synergistically. You don't have to implement all 6 perfectly starting tomorrow. That would be overwhelming and likely unsustainable. Instead, pick one habit that resonates most with you and focus on that for 2 weeks until it becomes natural. Then add another. Within 3 months, you could have all 6 habits integrated into your daily life, and I genuinely believe your gut health will be transformed in ways that might surprise you. I want to be very clear about something. These habits are not a replacement for medical care. If you're experiencing severe digestive symptoms, bleeding, unexplained weight loss, or persistent pain, you need to see a doctor for proper evaluation. These habits work best as part of a comprehensive approach to health, not as a substitute for medical treatment when it's needed. But for many people over 60 who are struggling with common digestive complaints like bloating, irregular bowel movements, discomfort, or just a general sense that their gut isn't working the way it used to, these 6 simple habits can make an enormous difference. I've seen it countless times in my practice. People who'd resigned themselves to a lifetime of digestive discomfort discover that their bodies still have an incredible capacity to heal and function well when given the right support. Remember Margaret, the retired school teacher I mentioned at the beginning? She implemented these habits gradually, and now, 3 years later, she's not only back at her book club, she's leading it. She travels, she's active, and she tells anyone who'll listen that changing these simple daily habits gave her back her life. That's the power of working with your body instead of against it. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content. Leave a comment below telling me which of these 6 habits you're going to implement first. I read every comment, and your feedback helps me create content that truly serves you. If you know someone who's struggling with digestive issues, please share this video with them. Sometimes the most powerful medicine is the simplest, and these habits cost nothing except a commitment to your own well-being. Thank you for trusting me with this time. And remember, your gut health matters. It affects your energy, your mood, your immune system, and your quality of life. You deserve to feel comfortable and confident in your own body, no matter your age. Take care of your gut, and it will take care of you. Until next time, this is Dr. Helen Brooks reminding you that small daily habits create extraordinary long-term results. Be well.